Hey, just wanted to jump in and let you all know that the B3 Lab is happening March 13th in Indianapolis. Come join us. Details below in the show notes. I met with Rick and Carol Wagner recently, and it was a great conversation, but I wanted to give just a short note of context here. Rick Wagner is a permanent deacon at St. Pius Parish, and he's also the president of Guerin Catholic High School. He and his wife Carol have been married for 39 years. They have a beautiful family consisting of 4 children and 10 grandchildren, 10. They have dedicated their lives to service, faith, and community. A side note, Rick grew up at St. Pius and now gives back through his ministry, leadership, and care for others. Hi, friends. I'm Deneen. I'm the host of this show, The Space in Between. I'm a mom, I'm an attorney, I'm an author, and I'm also a widow. We're going to get into some really important stuff today, and I'm really grateful that you're here and you're going to be sitting with us on The Space in Between. So I just want to say welcome back to The Space in Between to my listeners. I am your host, Deneen, and today is a special day for me. My guests are 2 people who touched my life long before they even knew it. I first encountered Rick through his reflections and scripture, and you put things on Facebook versus scripture reflections. Would you say that's...
Yes.
Okay, you looked a little surprised.
No. I reflect daily on scripture.
We were loosely connected online, and it was during a time that I was in a really dark place, really struggling. And your posts just kept showing up for me. They were steady and grounding. And I reached out and asked if you would meet with me. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that, yes.
And you said yes. Yeah. We only met a few times, but your presence during that season was real and deeply impactful. And I want to thank you again here. That's the kind of support that arrives quietly sometimes and has a resounding effect or rebounding effect, a long effect after it's over. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And after that, we stayed connected, and I asked Rick and Carol if they would be on the show because I watched how their life had unfolded after you impacted mine. They listened to a couple of shows of The Space in Between. I think they selected shows based on where they might be in their lives right now. Rick and Carol have been married for 42 years. Wow. Their story includes raising 4 children, loving 10 grandchildren. Did I get that number right?
Yep.
Surviving cancer, walking through grief, serving in countless ministries, and doing mission work in El Salvador for over 20 years. And there's something else I can't wait for all of you to hear. Carol's pilgrimage to Lourdes. When I first heard about it, it was just one of those stories. I was like, I want to hear more. I want to read more. And I was wrapped with attention on Facebook. This conversation today is going to be about faith, joy, illness, healing, partnership, and how to find light, even in the darkest places. Rick and Carol, welcome to The Space in Between. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. We're happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So I want to start right at the beginning of our connection, Rick, because it's meaningful to me. When you share reflections publicly, did you ever imagine, or do you ever imagine, that they might be a lifeline for someone you don't even know, someone who ended up appearing in your world like me, but there might be more of Deneens out there.
Right.
Did you ever imagine?
Well, and I didn't when I began doing it. To be honest with you, the whole idea of putting scripture reflections out there was more of my way of processing scripture and so forth. It was kind of part of my daily prayer was by doing that, but it quickly became known to me that people were being touched in some way, and a lot of my parishioners began to follow me and kind of use that as their morning prayer every day. So I was a little bit overwhelmed to think that, if I skipped a day, that people were asking me, are you okay?
Right? That someone's out there.
But it's been very good for me in my prayer life, and I've been really honored that so many people have felt that it was meaningful for them as well.
Yeah. Carol, I'm curious how you felt when you learned Rick and I had this unexpected connection during such a vulnerable moment in my life. If you even heard about that. I don't know if this is the first time you heard.
No.
And when I reached out and invited you both to join the show, what went through your mind? What made you say yes?
I think I've learned that if we are just open and honest, it might help someone whether we find out or not. And it's come back to us that we've found out at times how it improves someone else's lives or connects them to us or to someone else that will help them. I don't have any problem with that. I just feel like that's where God is leading both of us. And actually to the point of when you called Rick, I mean, we're really honest and open with each other, but he is such a steady, calm person that you're not the first person to ask to meet him.
The first girl in girl in shambles. Can you meet?
Well, and I say person because it's been men and women. And I mean, we've been married 42 years, but we've had, ups and downs. We've gone through a lot. And if either of us can help each other. Now, I was happy that you were meeting at
the
church.
And not like at a coffee shop or something.
Well, it was interesting because I think you were the first person that ever reached out to me that I didn't know in some way, or that wasn't connected to the parish or a friend of a friend. I mean, ultimately it was kind of a friend of a friend, but it was, it
was really based on what you posted on Facebook.
But that takes a lot for you to reach out too, because that was kind of, you didn't really know us.
I didn't know if he would just be like, I can't do that. And I think I even wrote that, like, I don't know if you do this, but can we meet?
Well, I asked permission.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm very trusting, and it was all for the good.
I think if you had been there for the first meeting, you would have been like, I have nothing to worry about. This girl is a mess and she just needs help.
Well, and also we have a trust with a lot of his pastoral moments with people. There are times where he can't share or shouldn't share with me. So we are very much an open book, but we have a respect level that sometimes I don't want to know. Because it might be someone that I do know personally. And
I understand that.
It gets in the way of our relationship. So, but he just shared a little bit enough. And then I knew you just needed his wisdom and calmness.
Yeah, it was great. It was so helpful and impactful. I even came to the storyteller series because I wanted to soak up more of that. And that's where I met you for the first time, which was great. So I know that you guys listened to those 2 episodes, Embracing Change and Opportunity and Living with Visible Illness. Did anything stand out to you in those 2 that reflected back about, and this isn't me digging for like how great the show is, but did it reflect back? I seem to think you might have chosen those 2, again, based on what you're going through. So it's more about your personal reflections on it, not...
Well, I think what resonated in both, or at least one of them, I think both of them, is the idea that, and we lived through it, was in the midst of some really
dark,
difficult and challenging times, how present other people were and how there was a good that came from it, and actually in Carol's case, quite a bit of good. And I think that's reflected in most of the shows that you're doing. That's what that space is, right? It's that space is to be filled with is
trying to find the light in those dark times. And I learned that with my niece, with her first battle with cancer, that if we didn't find the light on certain days, I think that's where probably the idea first came to me, but I didn't fully develop it for a decade later. But if you didn't find the light, and I'm sure you will get into your illness too. I don't know how to, I know you're past it, but I think you have to find the light in dark times or you just don't ever come out. And
right. And I will say I was so intrigued because I'm in this space in between right now. And I've been in other spaces along the way, especially through the illness, because there's a space at the beginning, there's a space while you're going through. But I'm in a funny space right now after cancer that I'm struggling with, not on a daily basis, but I'm kind of in limbo. So I think it connects.
Is it because you're not quite NED yet? Is that what you're referring to? Or is it a more
it's
internal reflective type thing?
It's who am I? I'm not the person I was before cancer. I don't even look like that person. So who is that person in the mirror? Even though on the inside, I'm sort of the same, but I'm not because of all the treatment.
Well, I think there's also there's always, especially when cancer gets into the lymph nodes, there's always that, thought, is it just laying dormant? And is it just right around the corner waiting to come back again? So that's all. I mean, I would assume that's always in the back of your mind.
That we've had a few scans that are clear because it did escape the initial place, and that I have to live with that. So you have that. So that's why I'm kind of in this space where, am I going to get to a complete light or is this my new me?
I want to take a step back for a minute to your story as a couple. You've been married for 42 years. That alone is a testimony. And I wish I could say this.
We've known each other for 50 years.
Wow, that's just amazing.
Which is crazy.
It is.
And so here, I want you to take a walk back. How would you describe your marriage today? And it goes into a lot of what you just said. How would you describe your marriage today compared to those early years where maybe there weren't even kids yet? I don't know how quickly you had kids, but
wedding anniversary, we had our first child.
Okay, me too.
On the day.
Okay, very close. Me too.
Really?
Yes,
okay.
Me too. And I was not happy about it. Was it wasn't
Too soon.
It wasn't the plan. My mom sort of put it on me that she wanted that to happen, and it did. I think for me and my husband, we needed some time together. We didn't live in the same state. We were long distance, and we got married and had a kid, and
That's a lot.
and I had I don't know if you guys, maybe you don't because you're holy people, but Sex in the City, I had my, Carrie dreams of going to the city where I was moving to with him and becoming a writer and having cosmopolitans and meeting all these fabulous people. And I was, in a very debilitating pregnancy within 2 months. There was no cosmopolitans. There was no, So anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. But what has surprised you most about being married this long?
Well, I think for me, especially with what we went through last year, I'm amazed that in our 42nd year of our marriage, that I'm discovering that how much more I love Carol than at the beginning. I mean, I always knew that I loved Carol, but when she was going through cancer, I thought the depth of that love was just really made known to me in how broken up I was by even the thought that she, that she might die from this.
Or might not be.
I was a mess. I mean, I was a mess. And that was, when I say I was a mess, that's not me saying,
You were a mess.
gosh, I'm not denying that. I was a mess, but me being a mess was God's way of saying, do you understand the depth of your love? Do you understand the gift that I've given you for these 40 or 42 years, So that's what amazes me, is that we've been married this long, and now it's like I just want to be with her all the time, which may annoy her, I don't know. But
and
you guys look very happy sitting across from you both. You look perfectly situated and happy, which I mean, I'm sure people can put on acts and whatever, but I believe you.
No.
And I did receive a text from you. We didn't know each other that long, but it was, my wife's just been diagnosed, and I'm sorry, I really can't continue, but I want you to do this. You gave me some guidance to go forward, but I could tell from barely knowing you that it was rocking your world.
Well, even Rick is the first person, and I hope I don't offend anyone, but that really loved me. And I've always said this as is. I mean, I was loved by my parents, but I was very controlled and told what to do and who to be. So I didn't know who I was. And Rick was the first person that just really came into my life, that he accepted me as is and always has. And I'm a quirky person. We're not alike at all. And through the cancer, to see the depth of his love, it was God's way of helping me not be so consumed with what was going on with me. I needed to serve him as much as he needed to help me, which was what I was asking for through my prayer, because when it hit that I had cancer, I was lost. I mean, you never think, I'm going to get
home
cancer.
today. Yeah, I'm going to come home today.
How will I handle it?
I
And
think
so I just prayed.
One of the things I found so interesting is that because in my role as a deacon, and I am pastoral to people, and I kind of help them walk through their difficult challenges and so forth. But it all went out the window when it's myself.
And you wrote a little bit about that.
Yeah,
you shared that on, and I thought that was
all of it just goes out the window when you're vulnerable yourself. And
beautiful.
And I found that she was supporting me, and she kept saying, "You don't need to apologize. If the situation was reversed, and you were the one that had cancer, you would be doing that for me." So. That made me feel a little bit better, because I felt kind of weak sometimes that I'm supposed to be helping her. And
I mean, just if you allow me just to say this, and I think you'll agree with me, Carol, when you shared that, I think you showed other people, other spouses, how they can walk through that. I remember reading it. I wasn't in a marriage anymore. I wasn't even in a relationship anymore. But I remember thinking, this is how you walk through that fear of losing someone, that sort of, oh, I don't want to talk about me right now, but here's how sad I'm feeling, which is kind of what you did. I thought it was exemplary. And I don't know that I'm the judge for that, but just letting you know, as someone that was just absorbing your life, your lives through the computer screen, I remember thinking even back then, like, I probably need to sit down with Rick with a microphone at some point. And then as I get to see Carol's part of it too, it grew stronger. So I just want to thank you as someone on the outside. If I ever find myself in a deep relationship again, I will reflect back on that if something ever happens. And when I went through it with my husband, I really wasn't, I didn't know what was coming at me each day. So there was no real time for reflection until years into his illness. But if it were to happen to me again, I think that would be so valuable, the way you two, and that's what my next question is kind of leading us to, how your faith kind of helped this. Carol, you've talked about your prayer during your cancer diagnosis, in quotes, "Lead me, Lord," end quote. That's a powerful surrender. Again, something that I think is exemplary and I'd like to follow. But can you share what that prayer looked like in real time for you?
When I found out, I just wanted to handle it by myself. Like I didn't want any of our family to worry. I didn't want to tell the kids, and so I just needed to turn to God and say, you didn't give me cancer to make me suffer. You have a plan. You knew this before I was even created. So lead me, Lord. And the ironic thing, and why I've always loved hearing that whenever I'm in church, or that song just always seems to be played. And shortly after we found out, I went for a little walk, and I have only Christian music on my phone because I used to run retreats, and that's the song that started playing. And I was just so comforted that I knew that God was right there with us. And he honestly led us, because I never slumped into this deep sadness anger. And I've talked with a lot of cancer patients now because they'll share with me. And I'm so grateful that I didn't get into that place. So God led me to be just more positive, trying to just take in and receive the love and the support instead of just being angry or sad. I mean, one morning after we first found out, I was hugging Rick and just trying to talk about things, because even the subject, that grew more comfortable talking about it as we went through it. Cancer.
Okay.
And I said to Rick, I said, because I had uterine cancer, I said, you know what? I said, I feel like God's just telling me to be grateful because my woman part of my body gave us these 4 beautiful children and gave us the joy in our life, and I don't need it anymore. And he just started bawling. But that wasn't me. That was God, like just giving me that message that it's okay. I'm still here, and I feel like I was still going to be here, but it's hard to give up part of your body of what part makes you a woman.
No, I agree, but I think as a woman, I understand you too.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I were to have that similar, I'd be like, at least I have colon Grayson.
Yeah. It's God gave us that, and it served us well, and it's still part of our lives, but I don't need it anymore. So that helped me be like, okay, this is going to be okay. So.
Well, very, very much Carol's journey, because I didn't see a lot of that going on, because what Carol presented to the world was, and the way she lived her life was, how can we use this?
Well, that was my next question.
Yeah.
I think you're reading my mind, and maybe I'm wrong, but you said something really beautiful, that Carol was or became a sacramental presence. Am I using your words right?
Yeah.
For you during her illness. And
well,
you were just
I think anything that is sacramental, it's an epiphany. It reveals Christ to us, and at every turn, Carol was revealing Christ to both me and anybody who had the privilege of being around her. I mean, literally, Deneen, within 10 minutes of the phone call that we got from the doctor saying that she did have cancer, she was asking the question, how can we keep the grandkids from being scared of me? Because she immediately knew with chemo that she was going to lose her hair. We have 10 grandkids who adore her, and suddenly grandma's not going to have any hair. And so her immediate thought was, how can we keep that from happening? So within hours of the diagnosis, we're planning a haircutting party for all of the grandkids. I
saw that on Facebook.
For all the grandkids out in the backyard. And we turned it into a celebration. And it was really beautiful because we all sat on a blanket, and Carol explained to them, Grandma is sick, but she's going to get better from the medicine, but the medicine is going to make her lose her hair. And so I thought, if I'm going to lose my hair, let's turn it into a party. So we had a bunch of pairs of scissors, and the grandkids all took little snips of her hair. I shaved her head. And the beautiful part about it is 15 minutes after Carol was hairless, all the grandkids are running around in the backyard playing.
They said, can we go play tag again? So I didn't scare them. But that was the Holy Spirit working through me, because I'm still amazed that I thought of that. So I don't give myself credit for that, but it was so beautiful. But there was a lot in between the space of that evening, because I just recently found out that our youngest son's wife, she had to leave the backyard because she got so emotional.
Oh.
And then my sister was there too. I have 3 sisters, and one of them was there, and I asked her to take pictures. And then she sent me the pictures, and the hugs in those pictures. Like, I mean, Maureen will laugh at this, but I mean, she's not a professional photographer, so I was kind of putting this all in her hands, but she captured these moments that were love to me, like just to see my daughter-in-law and my daughter hugging, but it was sadness and comfort. It was like, we're going to get through this. Or my hugs to our kids were, so there was a lot that evening that was more than just shaving Grandma's head.
Do we
But
need more
she-
tissues?
I've got it.
But she accomplished exactly what her goal was, and that was she didn't want the grandkids to be scared. And
they weren't the whole time.
within minutes, they were all playing, and they were just like, "Okay, grandma's bald." I mean, it was,
I don't know if
I
you
watched
saw,
that on Facebook
You did.
too. I
Did you-
watched it unfold with, I think you wrote a sort of a long thing about it. I don't know that I saw video, but I saw the pictures. And I did think, what a great family. And I know that maybe that sounds like I did a snap judgment, but I think that word great encompasses like bringing the joy, bringing your, bringing the divine in.
Yeah.
The way Rick said, you keep showing him that too.
Mhm.
I have, at times I struggle with my faith,
Mhm.
and seeing examples like this are so reaffirming, confirming, and beautiful.
Well, and our faith has been growing, so it's not always been so strong, but we just like awaken more and more as we go through life and recognize it. Like you gotta see it. I
think it's also a tribute to how the two of you lived together, that was able to take place, that was able to like come in to your life, even when you said right away, well, okay, I had my 4 kids, I don't need this part. Like somebody else, maybe me, I don't know if I ever get that it might take me weeks to get to that. But I understood you as a woman when you said it, but I think you had some sort of higher level understanding that came to you at that time. And I think that's wonderful. And I think sharing that, it just rebounded into your grandchildren somehow with this party and shaving your head. And like you said, your daughter and your daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
I was going to ask next, when you look back, what did it teach you about vulnerability and joy and partnership? But I think you guys just answered that question, because that's amazing. That it's just an amazing
well, I
story.
remember we were able to, we take a trip down to Siesta Key after Christmas each year, and we were able to do it. There was a break in her chemo, and she felt good enough, so we went ahead and took the trip. But all the kids came down too, and we were in a restaurant, all the kids and grandkids, and all the grandkids are just like hovering around Carol because she's the artist and she's drawing pictures, and they're just hovering around her, and I just sat and cried. And my daughter reached over and just pulled me in and said, "It's okay, Dad." It's like she knew. She didn't have to say, "What's the matter?"
Because
it was me
watching Carol,
seeing how beautiful this was, right in front of me. And she was able to recognize that I just needed to know that was okay.
Another part of the whole journey is learning how to receive the humility that you need to have, because we all push it away. Any kindness, any signs of love, or even sitting here hearing him say those things about me, that was huge. And it would come and go whether I could receive people's love, and God had to help me receive it, because you want to take care of yourself. Like, I'm a mom, I'm a grandma. You take care of other people. You don't take care of yourself, which is wrong. Yeah. We should take care of ourselves. But when other people start showing you that, it's like, okay, God, this is a lot to receive. Help me through this.
Well, I think our other daughter, Laura, she would set up a meal train. And so we were just like getting food and gift cards and all these things. And And I kept saying, Laura, we don't need this.
Just the two of us.
And Laura basically said, it's not all about you. It's
about letting other
people need to do this for you.
Absolutely.
They love you too as a couple, and they want to do this for you. So let them do it. It's like, okay.
And I remember telling you guys on our pre-interview call that I tried a couple of times to jump in when I was going to be in Indy, and it was always filled. I think there was one slot, and when I went back later to, I'm going to be here, I could do it. Because I guess I felt like I couldn't just order from out of state, which was stupid. I probably should. But I was like, I can't even get them dinner.
Yeah. We ate very well for a year.
Yeah.
Sure.
And she called us, and after, we just had her set it up for a short period of time. But then she said, Mom, there's too many people that still want to do it for you. Can I extend it? And I was like, okay. But I can't tell you how long, but it was wonderful.
Again, a testament to your impact in the community, both of you, and how that light does shine through and people want to reflect it back. I think, like your daughter said, it isn't just about you. Right. You helped grow something bigger in the community too. So and thanks for accepting those meals, I guess, on behalf of everyone.
And gift cards. And I didn't realize people still sent cards. No cards.
Hundreds and hundreds of cards.
And I was overwhelmed. I create cards with my art, and thank goodness people still send them, because I was shocked but so moved how many cards I got every single day. Did you know people still use the mail system?
No, in fact, when Danica was turning 16, I asked for a bunch of cards, and I don't know what happened. She got a few, but she didn't get I wanted to drop them all over her in the bed, and we didn't. Cute. I'd say we got about 20, 16, but I thought I would get like 300 because I had, but it didn't. Yeah. So I think that's even better. Just I'm happy for you that it did actually happen.
Yeah.
I want to sort of talk to you about Lourdes. Your visit to Lourdes deeply fascinated me, so I want to spend some time here.
Okay.
I think I know the answer to this after just talking to you guys, but what drew you to Lourdes, and what were you hoping to understand or receive? I have some other questions, but those are what drew you there, and what were you hoping to understand and or receive?
This is interesting. I'll try to make it as short and brief as I can, but my trip to Lourdes, there was a long space in between my brother's death and my trip to Lourdes. My brother died at the age of 35. I was only 24, and he was my only brother. And his wife remarried a man who had lost his wife to cancer, and they had been married for years, but they served this order in the Catholic Church called the Order of Malta. And basically they serve the homeless and the sick, which they call malades.
Okay.
So for over 25 years, I witnessed my sister-in-law serving sick people and taking them to Lourdes. And I was so fascinated with it. I would always ask her about it. And then come to find out I have cancer, and she sent me an invitation to apply to be a malade. And the presence of my brother just kind of connected there. He wasn't not a part of this, even though he's not here. It's his wife that invited me. And I have always had a great devotion to Our Lady, the Mother of Christ, to get through things in my life that I can't handle. And I know she handled the worst thing anybody could go through, is seeing her son crucified. And what I'm going through, it doesn't measure. So I know she understands. So Lourdes is a devotion to Our Lady, to the Mother of God. And you go there hoping for a miracle that you'll heal. But I also knew that we don't know what we need healed. So yes, I was a malade. I was a sick person with cancer, hoping that Our Lady would intervene and heal my cancer. But there's other things in me that probably needed healed too. So I was very hopeful going. And the impact there of all these people in this that were there serving the sick people, taking them to see the water weeping out of the rocks near the statue of Mary and touching it, and their hope and their prayers were coming through that. Just seeing them, and then I get to touch it. I get to be cleansed in the water from the spring that comes from the ground. There's a long story about it, and I won't go through it, but you have to have faith, because you have to believe in these things to have hope that there's going to be healing. So the whole purpose of going is healing and the belief in Mary.
So when I ask you what happened when you were there, what is the first thing? What happened when you were there? And I phrase it that way specifically for a reason. To see what comes to your mind first.
What happened is I kind of froze in the witness of humble servants all around me. And I needed to receive them, because not everybody gets this gift. And so I had to turn to prayer, like, please just let me take this in. I didn't want to miss anything. Like, everybody doesn't get to go to Lourdes. And so I needed to get that out of the way. My daughter, our daughter, Laura, was my caretaker, because you have to have a caretaker with you. And it's another long story why Rick wasn't there. He was my first choice, but he needed to serve someone else in our family during that time. But our daughter, Laura, was with me, and I received a deeper foundation of our relationship too. Mother-daughter, with our faith as the core. And she's the one that we're moving into her backyard. I mean, and
so when I say, did something shift after that, I don't know, is that a fair assessment that shifted too and made, maybe, I don't know, Rick, you didn't go to Lourdes, but did you have some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? By osmosis, did something shift in you? I know you said before we turned the mics on that because of what you went through, you're now able, and we're going to get into that, I hope, in a minute, the changes that are coming with where you live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think when Carol went to Lourdes, and I recognized that I wasn't going to be able to be with her, I really loved the fact that it was going to be Carol and Laura, or Carol and any of our kids, but the fact that it was Laura, and to be able for them to spend that kind of time in such a holy place. And I could tell every time I talked to Carol that it was really impacting her in a profound way. So I just carried that into my own prayer life.
Well, and two things that were so significant is I developed a deeper relationship with my sister-in-law. She always looked at me as the little sister. And, I'm 65 years old. So it was hard for her to ever see me as an adult. And through this process, we are now in sync and have a friendship that is based on our faith in a deeper way than we ever have. And we've known each other.
So it's sort of shifted that relationship a little bit in that your colleagues now. Yeah. And I don't mean colleagues in a distant sense.
Yeah.
You're no longer the little sister. You're on the same plane.
Yeah. And she's no longer my brother's wife. She's my dear companion. And the other thing, one thing that they do is we all go into a chapel, and there's just beautiful music and choir singing, and every malade or sick person goes up, and the caretaker stands behind them, and one of your team, because I had a team with me for 24 hours every day, 6 people that pushed me in a cart everywhere I wanted to go. But they take you up and they wash your feet, and they're singing this song that is like angels, but they're saying your name. Wow. And when I heard my name, and my daughter, squeezed my shoulders, and we're both crying. It was such a beautiful moment of humility, to receive. But then this person I just met that morning is washing my feet. Wow. And I mean, yeah, there's presence of God all around you in Lourdes.
It just sounds amazing.
It's amazing. I mean,
I saw pictures on Facebook, but this is helping fill in.
Yeah.
Because you were describing as best you could, but to hear it from Carol.
Oh, sure.
It's the depth of prayer and the hope that there's so many believers. Like, it's hard to believe that nowadays sometimes in
the way the world is. It makes you wonder. And then you go there and it's like me watching you guys on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
And then you going to Lord. It's like, it kind of reaffirms for you that there is good things going on, good people, and your faith is not wasted.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah. I love that. I want to, I guess, because of where we are in the conversation, we have recently talked about the idea of downsizing and moving into a smaller home on your daughter's property. And because Laura's been mentioned so many times, I think this is a good transition. I think I know how you're feeling about the transition because of our previous discussion. But what feels exciting for both of you, and what feels difficult if you feel you could be transparent? Because this is, I think, a hard move for parents to make, to take a smaller, literally a literal trends, like you're taking a smaller role in the sense that you're going to be in a smaller property and one of your daughters.
We won't ever be hosting again because we don't have the room, which is fine.
Or one grandkid at a time, right? Can come over and.
Well, Carol had asked me, when we were making discerning this decision, what are the kind of the pros and cons, and the con for me, I think, was this sense of independence that that I'm still going to be able to come and go as I please, but just the idea that it somehow is you're giving in or you're throwing in the towel, and that's a silly way to think about it, but it's like you feel like even though you're still going to be fully independent, you feel like there's something by giving up your home that we're going to be dependent on other people. But the highlight for me is, first of all, I've been asking Carol to get rid of stuff for years. So
that's one of the good things. That's not that's not a difficult transition for Rick.
No, so that was a blessing that we were able to get rid of a years worth of stuff that we didn't need. It was easy. And I can also begin to look at, gosh, maybe I can retire in a few years because we're not going to have a mortgage and we're not going to have
upkeep,
all the upkeep and so forth, and where there was kind of in my mind no end in sight of being able to retire. It makes it seem possible now. So,
would you agree on those points of what's difficult and what might be joyous or easy?
Yes,
or exciting.
It's been very freeing to give up everything, but that is probably one concern, that I am a creator. I'm an artist. And so I kind of stay in one lane now in this stage of my life, but I also love to create lots of things. And I had all the stuff I needed to be a woodworker, a jewelry maker, anything. It was completely in my basement, and that's all gone. I just kept into the one lane. So are you
going to stay painting?
I'm going to stay painting for sure. And I'm staying with sewing because I've been teaching the grandkids sewing because I think it's a lost art.
And I should say, for the people that are listening, Carol has a wealth of art that is, I believe, available when you do. Do you do shows or do you make it available?
It's online. I sell it online.
I have a few pieces that I bought. One I gave to my sister. It's beautiful. And we'll have in the show notes, we're going to have a link to wherever people could take a look or buy. But I think you're a fantastic artist. And I think your translation of your journey is very beautiful to watch from an art perspective and also to take in. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And we've also talked about, there's unknown by doing this transition. Like, we just need to prepare ourselves that there's going to be times where we might get frustrated. It's very tiny. When we say tiny, it's tiny. I don't even tell people the square footage because their jaws drop. And I don't want that reaction to something that we're trying to move on.
Yeah, you want to bring
way.
the positivity into it.
Because we're gonna make it work. But then there's going to be unknown great things.
We haven't shared a bathroom for 20 years.
Yeah, I know, and it's not big enough for us to have two sinks. So, but we gain an in-ground pool right in our front yard.
And I guess if you just keep a key to your daughter's house, she might have a few extra bathrooms if at times you need.
Yeah, and that's great. That's comforting to know you. Yeah. If I want to, we're not going to have an oven. If I want to bake something, I can go across.
Just go there. Yeah.
So there's unknown, but the simplicity of it is what I think we really embrace now, because we're living very simply right now because our house is for sale and it's
we really
empty.
Enjoy it.
And it's no problem. And I'm surprised that it's no problem.
I remember my friend, she moved over from London to New York, and she had a beautiful, fantastical apartment in Tribeca, New York. You could just imagine the amount of money and all that. But I remember at one point we were just talking, and she was like, when I was most happy was there was a period of 2 weeks when our stuff did not get delivered from London. We had beds, like mattresses on the floor. We were waiting for all the furniture and artwork. And she was like, I don't think I've been that happy since. There was something about the absence of belongings, the absence of material possessions. And she was like, it was literally that. And it was probably 2 years later after she had moved in. She's like, I still reflect back on those 2 weeks when we were eating pizza with paper plates. And she didn't have a housekeeper yet full time. She was just her and her kids and her husband. And she was like, I really miss it. I don't know that we could ever go back. He was on TV and whatever, but that is what I have not thought about her telling me that since our kids were probably 4. And when you were both talking, I was thinking of Shobi and how she had told me that, and how you just said we're happier because of it. And I think she sort of had it for a brief period.
It's real easy to keep your house clean when there's nothing in it. There's no dust collecting anywhere.
I love it. Well, that sounds like a high note. And so what I want to ask next, as we sort of are coming to an end of our time here, is I want to talk a little bit about hope, because your lives, your ministries, even your marriage, all seem rooted in that word. If you could each say one thing to someone who's currently, I know, Rick, you had a lot for me when I was in my dark place, but if there's someone out there listening now who is in a dark place, like I said when we first met, what would you say about hope?
Well, I would think, I always encourage people, even people that are of a different faith, or I think everybody has a core or a seed or a kernel of faith in their hearts. And I think the foundation of faith is hope, right? A look and a possibility of something beyond, and that's why Jesus was crucified and resurrected, to provide us with that hope of whatever it is that lies for us next. And that speaks to not only going from this life to eternal life, but going from a downside in my current life to a better side of my current life. So there's hope present in both of those situations. And I think that what faith allows us is, in the Catholic Church, at the end of a funeral mass, before the body is taken to be buried, we say that we send them off with a sure and certain hope in the resurrection. I like that idea. I like that phrase, sure and certain. It's like there's no doubt about hope. Hope is present. It's just our ability to grasp it.
I was literally in my head saying our ability to grasp it, but you said it out loud.
Yeah. I think hope is present. What we need to train ourselves to do is to reach out and grab it,
or to recognize it in every different person. whether they believe or are connected with an organized religion. Faith comes in hope comes in all different forms, and it can kind of, you can say it's faith or you can say it's hope. But I think it's you have to slow down a little bit and simplify your life to be able to see it, because it's around all of us, whether you're a part of an organized religion, whether you say you're a believer. Everybody can say they have hope. Where does that hope come from? It comes through people. It comes through actions. It comes through gestures. It comes through music, art.
And when Carol was going through what she went through, she radiated hope. So where I was feeling hopeless, she was radiating this hope that you couldn't help but either absorb it or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was there for the taking because she was radiating it.
Yeah. And we work through our faith, but I would say to other people that if they're just really down, find that somewhere in your life, like through someone, through an action, through, even a movie or something you read, but work at it. Don't just think it's going to come to you. It's going to come to you, but you have to slow down and be present and be in even silence to recognize it. So, I am now trying to say that this new me, is enough. And that's my hope, that other people just embrace, if they're down really far, work at getting up to that new you. Don't just rely on what's in your past. I don't want to rely on the fact that and stay in the cancer world. It's hard for me to even talk about that a lot. Even now, I want to just say, okay, I'm moving forward.
Yeah.
But I have to find it.
And that's what you mentioned before about, so that's sort of, you guys have been like ESP sort of people, because I was going to say, where are you finding the light right now in your space in between? Because you guys are in a space in between more than I knew before we started the pre-interview discussions and all that. Where do you find the light? And it sounds like you both have, but if you had to sum it up in one sentence, where do you find the light?
I think I'm still finding it, because I had that prayer of lead me, Lord, and I'm still hopeful that it'll be clarified. I have had a lot of directions set before me, and I'm not sure where he's leading me yet. So I'm my life is brighter, but I'm still working on it, because I'm in that transition period of what do I do now? Who am I? And so I'm still looking for it.
All right, we might need a part 2 with Carol, guys. Just putting it out there.
It's my life is becoming brighter, because we didn't even touch on this, but your health after you go through a series of treatment, it takes a long time for your health to recover, or your energy and all that. I'm finding more light right now because I feel better. But I'm still, the guidance of where God's leading me is what I'm seeking out. So it might happen through people. I don't know. So I'm still open to that.
Rick, what about you?
Yeah, I do a lot of retreat work, and the core of the retreat work that I do is this idea of sacramentals, and you brought it up earlier, but sacramental people and sacramental moments, and just this recognition that God is constantly tapping us on the shoulder through these little things that happen in our lives, or through the people that he sends our way. And that's where I see the light, is in all the people, and then those beautiful moments that he provides to me on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I think you guys have brought the light into the studio today. I want to say that. When you look at what you've built, the people you've served, you just kind of for a moment reflected on that, the family you've raised, what do you hope your legacy will be? I think I might even have an idea just from talking to you, but What do you hope your legacy will be?
That's a tough question. I haven't thought about a lot.
I mentioned to you in my pre-interview about the choosing joy. And I think that I've tried to live that way, and I hope that that flows out into our family and friends, that they choose joy, they find joy. And you can do that in many different ways.
I think you're a perfect inspiration for that. I really do.
Thanks.
And I did have it in my notes, but we had gone to another subject, so I took it out. But it was in my notes to ask you about choosing joy. So I'm really glad you said that, because I think you're a perfect representation of that.
Thanks.
And I think a lot of the things that Rick has said today bolster that even further.
Yeah.
If you don't.
Well, I think what comes to mind for me, because of my role as a deacon, I've already mentioned funerals once, and I don't want to be so focused.
We know you're more than funerals, Rick. We know that. We all know that.
That's where I think a reading that is used at funerals oftentimes is this idea that, well done, my good and faithful servant. And I think that's what I want my legacy to be, that I was a good and faithful servant, that I was called as a deacon and as a Christian to spread the gospel message. And I don't do it the same as other people may do it, but I've done my best. Mm-hmm. And so I think I want my family to be able to say, to use that reading at my funeral and feel like, that really fits Dad well, or that really fits Rick well. So I think
I could see that.
And they do say that to me. I mean, they've seen, about their dad, because he worked really hard to raise our family and provide financially, but he was not around a lot due to his 3 or 4 jobs. And it's beautiful to see the kids and our son-in-laws and daughter-in-laws see his witness as a good and faithful servant. And it's been beautiful, because that's his time now with the kids. And how much more beautiful could that be? That
I couldn't think of anything. Yeah. I mean, I think you both already live up to what your legacy will be. Yeah. And you're such an inspiration as a couple. And I want to thank you truly for being here. I think you've shown us what leading with honesty, wisdom, and faith looks like. You brought your wisdom to me. Carol, you brought it today. Your story is a reminder that joy isn't the absence of hardship, in my opinion. It's the presence of grace and faith inside that hardship. Mm-hmm. And you guys are a living testament to that. As you enter this next chapter, I just would like you to know that I hope it brings the gentleness worthy of everything you've poured into others over the years. And to everyone listening, if you're in a dark place, if you're in a transition, if you're searching for hope, I hope this conversation reminds you that you're not alone. You might reach out to someone you don't know on Facebook and meet up with them. Or you might buy someone's art because it inspired you at night alone and you saw it come across your computer screen. I want you to know that the light will often show up in unexpected ways through unexpected people. Thank you guys. Thank you, friends, for being with us today on The Space in Between.
Hi, friends. If you enjoy what you're listening to, please follow, rate, and share The Space in Between.